Right, I've got the roller shutter set up basically how it works. I think the first point to do is get these side bits set in how they're meant to run, and then deal with this bit after that. And first job to do then is to take the sides off the Skoda. Right, I'm going to take these plastic trims off the Skoda. I'm not quite sure how to do that yet, so I'm going to have a wee look. Got it off, and it appears to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clips that are all like tiger seal or Sikaflex on. So that was fun to try and prise off. Next side is the L200 rail on. If you look there, I'm going to have to kind of scribe it. Well, I have options. I could either cut the pickup or scribe the rail, which I'd rather alter the rail than alter the pickup. The like Skoda trim piece over the top, so it'll look quite neat. The only problem is it's not quite going under the trim, so that's why I'm going to have to cut that bit, shape it. Right, there is it scribed to the contour of the van pickup. Each of the rails, I've got this little cap that I've just prized out, and then I'll put that back in once I've got that. Right, my weapon of choice is the finger sander with a 60 grit, maybe even a 40 grit sanding belt on it, and just go slowly buff it down to follow that profile. I've got that buffed down. We'll give it a wee clean up, then put the bit of plastic back in it. I'll try it on the pickup first. It doesn't look too bad. It's not perfect, but it's not too bad. Cap back in. That corner was already broken, that wasn't me. These welds are sitting proud, which is pivoting the sliding rail. So I'm going to have to grind these welds back just now. Right, we've fitted the riv nut in here and put one 8mm bolt in, which allowed me to line everything up, and then I've drilled holes through here and here at the end and into the van, and then we're going to drill them bigger and put more riv nuts in. Now I have the sides fastened on. I measured and marked 33mm. That's how far it is to the back of the track, if you know what I mean, where how much it has to slide. So there's the back of there, 33mm, and I've done the same on the other side as well. So now I'm going to measure the gap between them. The size between them is 13-15. There is the roller shutter from one end. I've got that up against, well, got that hard up against where the plastic is, so where it will run up to this. It's measured out. Including the bit plastic, it's, I would say, more or less maybe a mil or two in it, 1400. So I need to cut off 85mm of the total size. Right, I've measured it out at 1310, so I can allow for the bit of plastic to go on as an end cap, and that measures 5mm, so it'll be right once that's in. I've got the roller shutter rolled out. It's flipped upside down, so this is the underside of the shutter. I need to drill out these rivets to get these straps off to take the shutter off, to then take the bar out, and the bar has some kind of recoil spring in it, I think. It's got some kind of spring system to it anyway. It all just unravels. It is on a spring, it all just unravels and is on Velcro. I'm going to take these 3 rivets off to remove this brushy bit. Next I'm going to remove the pole by removing this split pin, and then hopefully it should just lift out. I need to shorten the box down now that I've got the pole out, and I'll be able to take it all off of one side, which means I'll be able to take these spot welds out and then slide this end cap out and then cut some off and then spot weld it back on. Right, I have split those spot welds, so that comes out now, and I need to cut this much off it, which is 70mm, all the way around, and then re-spot weld that back in there.
Are you recording yet? Yes. Yes.
I've got the spot welds drilled out there that mimic the original spot welds, so I'm going to clean them up and get them spotted in. All that clamped up now and ready to spot weld in. There are my spot welds. I'm going to get them cleaned up now. Right, I have to take the rails back off to get the box in at the back. Cut these bits off now because they're fouling on the rail on each side. The rails bolted back in, and the back box is in. It's kind of held in the now, it just underlaps there. There is play in it, so I'm just going to wedge a bit of wood in there just now to stop it from moving, just for tonight until I could fix it down. There is plenty of room to fix it down somehow, so that is a job for tomorrow. I have got the shutter rolled out now. This is like the first piece, the locking the piece, and that just slides right out. There's little plastic caps on each individual one of these which stop it from splaying, so I'm going to take each of the caps off. I've taken all the clips off of one side. I can from the other side slide 2 out at a time. That's them all stripped off in 2s. I could strip them down again individually, which I probably will. Right, I've knocked myself up a little jig just so it cuts every single one exact. By the time I've put the plastic on it and tried it in, it's a ball hair too big, so I'm going to cut a little bit off of this and then try it again. Cut all them to length, and I'm going to start building it back together now. Rolled out, I'm just going to put all the plastic clips back in now. Drilled a couple more holes to put riv nuts in to hold the box down, but to put the box down I need to take the sides off. Right, I've put a riv nut in there and screwed it down. Done the same on the other side, but I've not put the bolt in yet. I have fed it in. I've still put the end on, and I've still to put the bar in and catch it onto the straps, but it fits. It's time to shorten the pole now. Ideally I would like to cut an equal amount off at each side, but the spring mechanism is in this side, so I'm just going to try and leave that alone and just cut from the one end, because it just has a bearing in it instead of the all the spring mechanism, which means I'll have to move these, but they just look like they're stuck on, so I could deal with that. I could just re-stick them on. I've drilled out those rivets and I'm going to try and pull this out now. That bit actually came out surprisingly easy once the rivets were out, and this is how much I need to cut off it, so I'm going to crack on and do that now. Right, it's time to fit the back bar piece now, which I have to cut off at each end. These are my cuts here. Also has the locking system in there, which I plan to just cut right through. Question has arisen on how to finish it, and I've kind of went with the decision to put the Skoda trims on first and then put the L200 capping piece, if you like, this bit in between them. So that's what we're going to go with. In order to do that, I hate to remove the fixing points for the capping piece, so go get the grinder out and cut them off. Right, I've trimmed down that piece and fitted it in between the two trims that are fitted where they're meant to go. Now I'm scraping all this old shower sealant stuff off of this trim, which is fun. The stuff I'm using to remove the sticky stuff. Those side bits cleaned up really well. Gonna have to put some back to black on it or some more plastic dye, but it looks really good. Obviously it's got this horrible Mitsubisi flap, but I know a guy that could do CAD drawing, and Big Kev has a 3D printer, so I'm going to get this printed off, probably just flush, so I could stick a Skoda sticker on it. Right, I've used some of that on the seams of the trims. Got that side stuck on. I'm just sending that Mitsubisi badge off, get the CAD drawing done and some sweets for these kids. I'll get that posted just now. Right, I've cut a piece of aluminium to the length of the locking piece of the roller shutter, and I've scribed it to the back of the pickup. Don't know if you'll see that well on camera. Yeah, it's showing up. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that now. Forgot to allow for the thickness of the bar, so I've scribed it again. So I'm going for this outer line. Got that scribed to there. So I'm going to rough it up now and put some paint on it. Put some holes in it, 4 holes, 5 of them, so I can put some rivets in, but I'm going to give it a coat of paint first. Clamped on to the runner bar, the locking bar, So I'm going to drill the holes in that so I could rivet it on once it's painted. There I've got it painted and clamped in, and the rivet's ready to go, and the rivet gun ready to go, so I'm just going to rivet that on. There we are, painted and riveted on. The scribe isn't perfect like most of my work, but it's good enough. Here are the CAD files that I've received from my mate Ben. I know Ben through the Just T4's forum, and although I've never met him in person, he was more than happy to help me out, so he's a top bloke. He's made an excellent job of these CAD drawings and I'm well impressed with them, so thank you very much, Ben. Big Kev's computer was having issues, so I had to outsource the 3D printing. After a Google search, I came across 3D Printing for You, which is a local business to me. I spoke to Sam, who was more than helpful right from the start because I'm pretty clueless, and Sam kept me right after a few question and answers between us. He basically told me to pick it up that evening. What a service. The 3D printing footage is actually courtesy of Sam as well, so a huge thank you to Sam is also due. Thank you, Sam. I'll put a link to Sam's website in the description as well. On the van, it's a nice tight fit. Happy with that. Right, I think I'm going to call that finished for now. It's not 100% finished. I've got a rubber seal to go on here that I found on eBay. I think that will fit it quite nicely. I'm going to like Sikaflex or Tiger Seal right down the edge once that's just to finish it off. But I'm quite happy with how that's turned out. Just like to say thanks to Ben and Sam again for all their help.